that it's very odd. The reasoning behind this being that, for those that have not been following the story closely, is that, okay, Ali took just a normal red shirt when he first joined the team at Charlotte, formerly known as UNC Charlotte. When he joined the program in 2020, 2021, he redshirted that year with Charlotte, played 2 years. Was the COVID extension year? Okay,
so he was still getting an extra year anyway.
Everybody who played that year, the NCAA said, hey, whether you played that year, whether you sat out because of COVID concerns, you get that year back. Does not count, But for whatever reason, the NCAA, and that's the whole thing. Hey, but I haven't even gotten into that yet.
And because there's a guy at the University of Miami,
Cam
played tight end. He was like 55 years old.
Yeah, he had 9 years of eligibility, I think.
He's older than me. Tyler Shuck was in college for 7 years.
Medical
7 years.
I mean, Bo Nix had, I think, 3 or 4 medical.
That's the thing. It's just they rubber stamp these medical red shirts and eligibility extensions until
these guys
just randomly decide.
These guys are very mature,
no.
still in college playing sports.
This guy's only played 3 years, but we're not going to let him play. But we'll let somebody play for 9 seasons because
I've never heard of it. Like I'm just being honest. Not even with Louisville, I've never heard of this ever happening before.
Yeah,
like ever, and
especially with somebody that's only played 3 actual seasons.
Yeah. No, I've never heard of it. I've never heard of the NCAA having an issue with having that medical red shirt. It was Robbie Hummel played forever at Purdue. Like Robbie Hummel was at Purdue for about 8 years because he kept having knee injuries. He just kept having issues with that knee. He kept having to have surgery. I believe 1 year Robbie Hummel played. He played that season, but he played less than 20% of the games, and they gave him that year back as well. So I mean, literally, Robbie Hummel played in a season, and the NCAA still rubber stamped it. And it does make you feel as if, maybe it is us. Maybe, maybe it's a situation where they have it out. And I have always been one that I would think that, especially with Coach Pitino gone, with Tom Jurich gone, with everybody that was associated with all the issues that it had previous, especially with, Louisville's outside of probation now. They have Pat Kelsey, who is a solid gold citizen, very positive guy, no whiffs of any impropriety. Like you would think that with everything that's going on with the University of Louisville right now, Jeff Brom has the football team up and rolling. The NCAA, you would have thought that the NCAA's issues with Louisville would be done. And I hate it, but I can't get away from the fact that it does feel targeted. And I feel like that's ridiculous to say that because I don't even know why the NCAA would have an issue with Louisville. Like, honestly, it's not like this is UNLV and Jerry Tarkanian and you just are out there just spitting, because like Tark was a guy who was famously always like needling the NCAA, and that's never been Louisville. It wasn't even Louisville when Rick Pitino was here. Like it was never about playing a player just, flying in the face of the NCAA. Like Louisville's never done that. So I've never really understood the whole, people are out for Louisville angle, which is why I've always just said, I could at least understand with the whole banner thing. I did not agree with it. I understood Louisville's argument on it, but I also understand why the NCAA took the stance they did because of the whole morality of it. Just because I know that there's a bunch of old gray and blue hairs on the infractions committee that would find what Louisville did to be pretty terrible. So I understood why they weren't going to go with there was less than $4,000 worth of funds exchange. I understood why that happened, even though I didn't agree with it. But I mean, it's hard at this point to just not think that the NCAA just does not like the university.
That begrudge, like ACC.
It's so weird.
That begrudge.
Like, Haven, can you think of any reason why they would even have an issue with the University of Louisville? Like, I hate to look at it that way, like they're out for us, but like, is there anything you can think of to why Louisville would even be in the crosshairs of the NCAA?
Yeah, so I think it goes back to the morality clause in basketball. And the first thing the first big morality issue we had was Karen Seifert.
Yeah.
Which wound up going nowhere.
Yeah.
But was a very, very big deal, was a very big thing. If Rick Pitino wasn't Rick Pitino, if he was any other coach, he probably would have been fired.
Yeah.
From any other university, probably would have fired Rick after the whole Karen Seifert debacle.
So I thought you was going to go back to Larry Gay and what's his name, Samaki Walker. I thought you was going to go all the way back to that.
No, because here's the thing, right? Because like Denny, even though Denny was Denny, he never had like the super big scandal. Even though that was a nice size scandal, it wasn't like a Karen Seifert, ESPN, Sports Center, news dominated.
That's fair.
News dominated,
like tabloid-esque
yeah.
situation.
Yeah, tabloid-esque situation. Plus,
Yeah.
people like Denny, and if you're not in Rick's circle, people really don't like Rick all that much. If you're not in his circle.
Yeah, the Samaki Walker thing really never stuck to Denny. That was more of a Larry Gay thing.
Yeah, it never stuck to Denny, but this was all like Rick Pitino.
Yeah.
So after that happened, then you had like other incidents of players doing things and guys, other U of L players who are known to drive around high schools and things of that nature. You had a steady stream of things that U of L did a pretty good job of keeping the wraps on. Then the whole Karen Seifert thing like blew up, and it just blew up. So now Louisville was like, for a lot of Rick's tenure was a scene.
And for Louisville football, they have the situation with the football players going and shooting like the paintball guns or water guns at like
that paintball incident.
I remember. I can't remember.
They had a couple of guys They didn't break into cars. They like jumped on top of cars and stuff. I think that was when my mind just went blank.
This is with the football team.
After Gavin Stellenberger.
Yeah.
1-18 record with great defense.
Ron Cooper.
Ron Cooper era.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, some issues with that, but nothing. But football teams never had anything like big, right? Football,
right.
It's all been minor stuff.
But I mean, you had Shane Bohannon issue. You had Shane Bohannon and kind of his kind of weird stuff going on. You had Chris Jones, but everybody has these things like where these have little incidents.
It's like everybody has those incidents. The problem was it happened right after Karen Seifert.
Yeah.
So immediately after you had Karen Seifert, then you started having these things kind of trickle down. And then it ended with, the stripper game, right? So you had like these sexual mores going through the basketball program.
Yeah, and then of course, and then right after that, you have FBI, putting Rick Pitino and University of Louisville right at the center of that. So I mean,
the only other one in football was, I don't know if you guys remember it. It was small, but it did blow up. It was the gray shirt scandal.
Oh yeah.
Matt Colburn with
Colburn, like pulling his scholarship. Yeah,
he ran for 300 yards against us when we went 2-10.
I mean, but but once again, that's still nothing. I mean,
it's not anything crazy. It was just blown up.
But it's just that name, like Louisville, I feel it feels like Louisville served their penance. It seemed like, they fired everybody. Jurich was gone. Pitino was gone. David Padgett came in and kind of did what he could to kind of hold the fort. Now, you did have the situation with Coach Mack and, Dino Gaudio. And maybe that was kind of that was unfortunate just because
Right.
it does. Now you have an issue with the University of Louisville extending past that old regime. So maybe that has something to do with it.
And because it involved the FBI again
Yeah.
in that case, that maybe they just feel like we are just repeat offenders. We're a dirty university.
Yeah.
Maybe it was retribution and punishment for hiring Kenny Payne as your head basketball
Yeah.
coach. So
Yeah.
it could be a lot of things.
It
But
just, yeah, I like it. When I look at it and I look at everything and I look at all the transgressions, and I know that the University of Louisville fans in Card Nation are tired of living in it because we've had to live in it for the last 12 years, 13, 14. I mean, Karen Cipher was what,
2008, I think.
Yeah, to 2008. So, I mean, Louisville's been living in this for coming up on 20 years, which is just wild to think about that we've been dealing with this for so long. But you're talking about 17 years in the hopper of just issues and problems and things that are black eyes for the university. And we're ready to move past it, move on from it. But maybe the NCAA just almost instinctually just saw Louisville. But the weird thing is you had Kobe Rogers, who also had to have a medical red shirt, and we haven't heard anything about
he played
Kobe's
4 seasons.
I believe so. Kobe played 4 years. But we haven't heard about his extension being denied. And you would think that Louisville, my guess would be that Louisville's compliance department would have put in Kobe's paperwork the same time they put in Allie's.
Yeah.
So
and Khalifa he committed before Kobe Rogers did, I think, even though Kobe came from Charleston.
Yeah.
Ollie was one of our, well, actually, I think I might be wrong about that. I think Khalifa was one of our last commits, but
they were both
right,
very close.
Is that you're saying they probably filed at the same time?
You would think.
That's why it seems so arbitrary and targeted almost, because it's like, but at the same time, you're like, well, if they really had it out for you, why would they not just deny both?
I mean, like, it just doesn't
I think it's just incompetence.
It's weird. That's why it feels like somebody with the NCAA, like I said, I don't know how the NCAA does this. I don't know if they just hand case files to just select people and just say, here, you take care of this, you take care of that. So the person that got Kobe Rogers' file did what the NCAA does on every case, and they just did it. And this person who got Ali Khalifa's file just didn't either. I would hate to think that the NCAA has people working in these compliance committees that don't know the rules or that doesn't do their homework. Like that would, I mean, people always like, my buddy Ethan Moore, Louisville Sports Live, he always talks about the ineptness of the NCAA. Every time LSL is on, he's always talking about the ineptness of the NCAA. And, I would like to think that the NCAA is at least a professional organization and that the people who work there actually do their jobs. But this is one case where it feels like somebody did not do their normal homework. Like this feels like this makes the NCAA look bad, but much more than it makes Louisville look. Like this is one where and you can tell me if I'm wrong, this makes Louisville feel like a sympathetic character. Like this is something that to me puts them in a better light.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like every national writer that I saw that had tweeted about it, whether it's Fran Fraschilla, Paul Biancardi, something like that, they were saying, I've never seen anything like this. I don't understand what the logic behind it is. And they expect Khalifa to play for us next season, which I agree with completely. It's just, it's weird.
It is very odd.
It is so weird.
So for me, and this is my thing, is that I hope this gets taken care of expediently. Like Roman, is that like, to me, we don't need the NCAA dragging their feet and having this Ali Khalifa eligibility stuff go into July and August, right?
This should have never been the case in the first place. There's plenty of players that have been in a similar position. He had a rightful medical red shirt. Didn't play any of the season. He couldn't play. He had to have surgery. It's that simple. Fix it. Fix it as soon as you can. Fix it right now. Fix it Monday morning, 8 o'clock. Have this done before the end of the day tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, and that's my biggest worry, because it's fine if you made a mistake. No, I do not. Yeah, we know what you mean. But, like that's the biggest thing, is that I need this to be taken care of quickly. And I don't need this drag on. I don't need Louisville, because I'm pretty sure that they did the appeal pretty much immediately to get that back to the NCAA office. And I know that the NCAA has rules that they can take a certain number of days or a certain amount of time to reply to the appeal or respond to the appeal. They have a certain time, from the initial decision to get back. I really hope the NCAA does not decide to drag their feet and take the maximum amount of time to respond, because that would be unfortunate. Like that. That's my biggest worry, Will and Roman, is that they're gonna take their time with it. And we've known the NCAA at times to be very slow in.
It took them 3 years to actually take our banner down after they talked about the scandal. So
I mean, that's my only worry right now, because yes, like that they could come back and say Ali Khalifa is eligible, but if this thing drags into July, August, what if they just decide arbitrarily to wait until like October, November? What can we do? Like that's the whole thing, is like, it really feels with a lot of these rules like the NCAA kind of at times can make things up as they go along. If they say, well, we need to delve into this deeper and we need to get medical records and we need to talk to the doctors and find out, if they decide to be really petty with it and decide to, let's cut this open and really see what we have, like this could drag.
I mean, it happens to a lot of teams. I mean, think about Kentucky with Big Z a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, it took a few months for him to actually become eligible when it really shouldn't have been an issue whatsoever.
Yes.
So it's a season-altering decision that's in the wings for us. Hopefully that we have a contingency plan in place where it's not going to matter as much. But when you don't have
with James Scott being gone now,
that's some contingency plan being maybe the European guy, or like Kelsey said, we have a couple more guys coming in. Who knows?
If James Scott was still here, would you feel better about the time that it would take?
Definitely, because I mean, you feel like you at least still have a semblance of front court depth.
Yes.
And not as much skill, obviously, but
right. At least experience, and you have a guy that's been there.
Yeah, you can sleep at night, because right now all you have as a bona fide center is an unknown commodity that we think is going to be good, but we don't know. And behind him, you had to play small ball. So we're in hot water right now.
It's tough. It's tough. And by the way, folks, 502-414-1450. That is the Wake Up 502 text line. Love to hear from you this morning. All your thoughts on Ali Khalifa or anything else. Like if you are you worried? Yes or no? I'd love to know that. Does Louisville need to go ahead and move on and, almost triple up or triple down? I mean, you can give up to 15 scholarships now. Does Louisville need to go out there and get like 2 or 3 centers? Like that's what I want to know. Like, even if a couple of them are Frank Anselmibe, like, do you just need to just make sure that this is not going to be an issue? You have a European product from Germany that is an unknown commodity. You have a Kason Pryor coming off a knee injury. You have now an Ali Khalifa dealing with medical issues. What does Louisville need to do to shore up? Are you comfortable with them staying pat? Who would you like to see them add, or what would you like to see them add? And I tell you what, we're going to go ahead. We're going to take our first break. We're definitely going to get to all you guys' texts. I'm sure that the text line is already up and rolling this morning, but we're going to get into that and much, much more. When we come back, we actually have a special guest coming in studio to chat with us as well. You are listening to Wake Up 502. Once again, give us a text in 502-414-1450, and we'll be back on the Big X with Haven, Will, Roman, and myself, Raashaan Myers.
Is this going to be in the Octagon?
They're talking about him being on the card, you know.
It's like this.
But yeah, Dontel, man, he's sticking in there.
Yeah.
I like it. And welcome back in. Second segment of the show. Wake Up 502, 96.1 FM, 1450 AM, Big X Sports Radio. And as we promised before the break, we have a great guest in studio with us today, Haven Harrington. Why don't you go ahead and introduce, I don't know if I want to call him Philip or Phil, but guest. I don't know, he's a fight guy, so I don't want to get on his bad side.
Man, he's one. I mean, we've known this guy since, I can't think of like when we first met. It's been
back when you guys were doing the party down at Beer Nose downtown.
Oh yes,
yes.
Back then, and the studio downtown. So I don't know, 2013, 14.
Yeah, 2013, 14. Yeah, it's been over a decade.
Yeah, been a minute.
It's been a real minute. This is on air right now is one of the greatest. I'm telling you, one of the greatest MMA trainers this country has ever seen. Easily. Philip Perkins from the Future of Fighting is here with us in the studio right now. I'm telling you, when I say he's one of the best trainers, he's one of the best trainers. This guy's been all over the world training fighters. So, man, we just had a conversation about you going to Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, we were talking about Dontel Mays. You guys were talking about Dontel Mays. And I'd mentioned I ran into him in Abu Dhabi at UFC Abu Dhabi. And that was a long way from running into him at Expo 5. Him and his coach, both great guys, so. And I think that was, again, probably 12, 13 years ago. So
yeah, it was.
Yeah. Very cool to see him doing so well in the UFC, still hanging in there. Unfortunately, just had a loss, but doing well in the UFC, and it's just very cool to see.
Absolutely, man. And especially here and locally, that this was the MMA arena here in Louisville. That was kind of my initial delve into. Haven Harrington brought me in. Parakeet Springs, I believe, was my first fight where I got to come out and just kind of see what it was all about. Haven Harrington, told me, look, when you get in here, people are passionate. I never knew that the fight game was so popular here. And that kind of introduced me to the culture that is the fight, combat sports, both, boxing and MMA here locally. And Philip, you've been a guy who's been a face that's been around it for a long time. And you've been doing it for such a long time. If you can just kind of speak to just your involvement, kind of let people know how long you've been doing this, how you got into it, and kind of your journey with this thing.
Sure. So most people know me from owning Area 502 Mixed Martial Arts.
Yes.
Excuse me. We've been open for 11 years, almost 12 years. We have 5-star boxing with us also, Coach Aaron Shekels. And I'm a second-degree black belt. Been coaching fighters in the city since 2009, 2010, something like that. And, I used to compete back then. Had a few fights, 6 fights, not too many, but a few. And, so I decided I could be a good fighter or a great coach, and just decided to pursue coaching, open my own gym in 2013. And then that's kind of where you guys have seen me, just coaching fighters, coaching pretty much everything. I've coached boxers, kickboxers, MMA fighters, of course, jiu-jitsu fighters, bare knuckle. I've coached bare knuckle.
Wow.
One of the few coaches in Kentucky that's coached every combat sport, and been in the corner of somewhere near almost 500 fights. I think I'll be coming up on 500 fights here soon that I've been in the corner for. So wow. Very, very experienced. I don't think there's any coaches around have that much experience or close to that much experience in MMA. There might be one or two, but definitely none that are that active and have been that active for so long. So that's probably where you're used to seeing me at.
Oh, yeah.
But a more recent, we about 2 years ago, we started our own promotion, Future of Fighting. The reason I started Future of Fighting is just because we needed it. There was no good promotions in Louisville. And I was tired of my fighters fighting on the low class shows. So we decided to start this. I talked to Hard Rock, who's been matching fights in this region for 20 years or something, and decided to start this, and he was going to match make for us. Our first show we did at the Kentucky Center for African American Heritage.
Yes.
It went great, and we've just been growing ever since then. Our fourth show we did at 4th Street Live, and it was a blast. We had 4th Street Live was packed. Fights were great, and really just the next level production. It's, you know, I'm not just being partial, but I think we're already one of the best shows in the region. You know, we're not huge, but we're not one of the small backyard shows. Since then, we partnered with 4th Street. We're going back to 4th Street June 6th for our next event. We've done a few events since then back at the African American Heritage Center. And then now we're going back to 4th Street Live, partnering with them, doing 2 per summer at 4th Street Live, and trying to help continue to grow mixed martial arts in the area. You know, before I've done it just through my fighters. I've had, you know, right now fighting's booming. I was at Steak and Bourbon with my wife, and I seen Roy Jones Jr. on the Roy Jones Jr. boxing, and the young man that fought on their card. Yeah, he trained at our gym for a little while. And so I recognized him, and I was like, oh, cool. It's nice to see boxing up there. And then I was driving home, and I seen another billboard with LFA on there because they're coming back to Louisville. And then we drove past 4th Street Live, and there's our banner up on 4th Street Live's Jumbotron. And it just made me realize, like, fighting is booming again. It's back. But it wasn't back. There was a time between, I don't know, maybe 15 and 18 where it was slow.
The dark years.
Their boxing was slow. MMA was slow. I was the only one, not the only one of the few putting guys on cards, every card. And we would have 4, 5, 6 guys fight on every card, and we have for 10 years or something. So for me, you know, there was a little while where I felt like we were keeping it alive. And now it's back, and I think it's great. I think high tide sprays all ships. I think the more fighters, the more good gyms we have, the better. And I hope it continues to grow, and people like the UFC come back. There's a reason that LFA is deciding to come back, and there's a reason that future of fighting is growing. So,
yeah, that's awesome, because I remember, like, when we first got into this, like 15, 16 years ago, the boxing and MMA scene here was like huge. You had a ton of like different gyms. I remember we did stuff with Dragonfly, MMA out of Radcliffe. Remember doing stuff with Bad Dog MMA when they were around. You know, you had all these different gyms doing stuff with you and your gym and everybody else, and covering all these fights. Like every weekend, there was like 2 fights a weekend, and it was just like so busy. I remember at one point talking to the boxing commissioner or the sports wrestling commissioner here in the state. You know, they were like, at one point, Kentucky was the like 3rd most active MMA boxing state in the country, and could have been much higher, like second literally only to Vegas. The only difference is like we just didn't have enough commissioners to go around to sanction all the fights. And then it kind of cratered a little bit. Like you said, for like about 5 or 6 years, it's kind of it just went away to where you just had like maybe one. I know Hard Rock is kind of, you know, was doing their thing, and Dorico and Fuse Promotions was kind of holding things down on boxing again. And then that was it. And then it kind of started percolate a little bit more. And now it's good to see it. Now it's back. You know, we have like fights like literally like once a quarter. You know, you can come see great local fighters and so much local talent.
Yeah. Hard Rock kills it with the matchmaking. He does his show still in Parakeet Springs twice a year. Yeah. And then Bowling Green. So he does kind of south of Louisville. And we do Louisville 4 times a year. And yeah, so I mean, that's just between our 2 shows. So there's, you know, plenty of shows up north, Cincinnati, Newport. But yeah, it's just great to see, man. It's good for the fighters. It's good for future of fighting, and it's good for the gyms. Good for Area 502 as well. You know, it gets a lot more guys coming in. We got a guy now, Bad Combo, Jeremy Henry, stopping in to train with us. He's fighting on the main card of LFA. He's a 3-time professional champion. Fights at 145. He's the future of fighting 145 professional champion, but he went up to Canada for unified MMA and won a 155-pound championship belt. Wow. Which that's, I believe, the biggest promotion in Canada, or one of the most popular, if not the biggest. So We got guys like him stopping in to train and do camp with us at Area 502. So it's just, the more it grows, the better it is for everybody, other gyms as well. So.
Yeah, I mean, and that to me, and Haven, you hit the nail on the head. There's so much talent here locally. We were just talking with the LFA folks about Lance Lawrence, who's been a guy who I saw perform very early on in his career, and he was just kind of a show-stopping type of talent. And there's a lot of talent like that here in the city. We talked about Dontel and what he's been able to do, and the fact that he made it up to the big show, and like coming out to see Future Fighting on June 6th, you're going to be able to see some of that talent, that's up and coming, and guys that you could see make the larger promotions, and kind of watch, as these guys move from the amateur world, and then you have, your professionals as well, and then how they kind of move up the ladder, and this is a big part of it, right?
Yeah, a huge part of it. There's not a whole lot of guys still out there going at it from, like Lance and Dontel's kind of era. These are a lot of the guys that are still up, like you said, up and coming, and guys you're going to see, you'll see those guys for a long time too, but these are guys you're seeing just
the next generation
just start to climb the ladder. Yeah. And on this in particular card, we got 4 professional fights. So really going to see some guys that got a chance to go somewhere. And then the amateur side of the card too is incredible. We got a couple amateur title fights, a couple guys that are undefeated fighting for titles. And we really like undefeated title fights. I mean, that doesn't necessarily mean you need to be undefeated, but it's nice when you see 2 undefeated guys or an undefeated guy fight for a title. So we got some good amateur title fights, good professional fights, and with Future Fighting, we always make sure to put on a good production. There's a reason we're at 4th Street Live, and when you come out, this time we even got a new walkout where they get to walk out off the stage with the jumbotron behind them, and it's really cool. It's not quite the next level, but it's as close as you can get on the regional show, And I'm excited that we're able to put this on, and hopefully continue to get better and better, and continue to get more of the support of the city.
There we go. And about that fight, it's June 6th. Doors open at 5:45. Fight starts at 7. It's at 4th Street Live. And want tickets, you go to futurefighting.com and get your tickets signed for pay-per-view. You can also go to wakeup502.com. So I put all information on our website yesterday. So you got 2 places you can go. Wakeup502.com to get tickets, or futurefighting.com to get tickets. And I'm telling you, come out. You are going to be surprised. If you've never been to a local MMA show, it's rowdy, it's raucous, it's amazing. Everybody's into it. Everybody's going to be hyped. Everybody's going to be screaming and yelling and cheering. I'm telling you, this like what you see on television pales in comparison to what it's like in person.
Yeah, when you go to a show, you're almost watching it on your phone. You can't even barely see what's going on. It's cool to be there, but it's different in person, and it's even better at 4th Street because they got kind of the mezzanine up around, and there's VIP tables everywhere where you can look down, and it's just such a cool area to watch a fight. And one thing that's different from us is we have a DJ playing music the whole time, in between fights, playing good music, and there's good food because there's all those good restaurants around there. So you're not listening to na hey, and eating hot dogs and French fries, and you're getting good food, good drinks, great music. You feel like you're in a club, then you remember there's fights going on, is what one guy told me.
Yeah.
And so it's a vibe. It's a lot of fun. I think everybody will be really surprised it hasn't been. So come out to Future of Fighting, like you said, futureoffighting.com. Add us on Instagram at Future of Fighting MMA. We got a lot of good content, and you can kind of see some past shows, how they went. And of course, even if you go straight to Future of Fighting, go to Wake Up 502 and check you guys out.
Yeah.
And once again, we are joined by Philip Perkins, Future of Fighting, here talking with Wake Up 502 this morning, 96.1 FM. Philip, and now let me ask you, just, you've been doing this training for a long time, and you talked about all of the disciplines. What in your, for all your experience, what's your favorite, style or your favorite, as a trainer, what's your most favorite to teach or train?
I train the most jiu-jitsu. I teach the most jiu-jitsu, but for me, my specialty is MMA. My specialty is mixing it up. I feel like I can mix it up better than anybody. I feel like the in-betweens, like not just boxing, kickboxing, jiu-jitsu, wrestling, the in-betweens, the stuff that you don't learn in those classes that are specific MMA, I feel like I shine in those areas. And I just understand a fight. I just understand a fight because I've trained boxing, I've trained kickboxing, I've trained jiu-jitsu, I've trained wrestling, you know, I've trained everything, and I've competed in a lot of them, and I've coached guys at all levels of all of them. So I just feel like, you know, I can hang in any area,
Right.
and I love each martial art individually, but I feel like MMA is what really sets me apart from the other coaches, and I feel like that's where I really shine.
Yeah, and it makes sense because, you know, different skills or different situations calls for, you know, you need different, you know, you need to adapt to different scenarios and situations, and I'm sure those differing skills come into play and they're helpful, you know, to get out of a lot of situations because, you know, stand-up situations versus, you know, when you're in the cage or you're, you know,
Somebody trying to box or you're doing Muay Thai.
Yeah,
That's how it's all fit.
I'm sure that versatility comes in, and that's a big key, right? Is being able to change it up.
Yeah, and some you can, of course, plan for a fight with that knowledge, but I can change it up in the middle of the fight if I don't like how a round's going.
Yeah,
you know, I can watch how the other opponent fights in the first round, and I can go in and tell my fighter, hey, look, this isn't what we need. I need you to not wrestle as much. I need you to box with this guy. I need you to keep your range and use your long shots. And, you know, my knowledge in all of the areas helps me it allows me to just kind of see it different. And there's a lot of coaches that train each individual martial art, but I just feel like the way I mix it up and my experience with the MMA itself is what sets me apart.
Okay. Now let me ask you, but this will be my last question for you is, give us, you know, are there some names or some guys that folks should be looking out for that, you know, they really want to pay attention to? Is that, you know, who are the folks that, you know, we need to kind of, the names we need to keep in mind as we go into June 6th?
Yeah, I hope I don't, you know, it's hard to name a few because I don't want to forget any of my guys, but we got a couple guys coming out of my gym. Like I said, you know, Jeremy Henry stopped in to train bad combination, 8-5 pro, 3 professional titles. Keep an eye on him. Okay. Guys out of the gym, Blake Alvey's one of our experienced amateurs. He's looking to fight 4 or 5 times this year. He's looking to fight. We're actually still trying to find him an opponent for June 6th. Christian Floyd's another guy that trains with me. Super talented, super skilled and dedicated fighter, fights at 185. I got an undefeated guy at 125, Hugo Ponce. He's 5-0. I believe he's ranked like number 20 or 22 or something in the country. So he's, you know, one of the best 125 amateurs in the country.
Nice.
There's a bunch of them. Like I said, I'm sorry if you know, those are the first couple.
No, you're good.
There's a bunch of guys. We got Ruben Vargas, who's actually one of our kickboxing coaches. He's a pro fighter, 1-1, and he's fighting on the card June 6th, and the only pro we got on the card. So he's been off for a couple of years, but he's one of our kickboxing coaches. He's a brown belt. He's a pretty well-rounded fighter. So he's one to keep an eye on at the June 6th show. We're hoping for a nice, exciting fight from him. And he's got a tough test ahead of him. He's fighting Keston McLean, who is our 170 amateur champion, the future of fighting. So he's coming up, turning pro and fighting Ruben. So it's actually a real tough fight for both of them, and a real exciting fight. So we're excited to see how that goes.
I'm excited to see how that goes. Man, you know what? Just like listening to you talk about the champions and the amateurs ring, that's what we mean by there is so much talent in this city that you have to get out and you have to go see it. We need you there June 6th, 4th Street Live. Doors open. There's no doors, but everything.
the gates.
The gate was at 5:45.
Yeah, they'll start to let you in at 5:45.
The show starts at 7, right? And we need you there.
Yes.
Because these guys need your support. We need to keep growing the combat sports in this town. We said this before. We said it a billion times. Louisville is the only city in the world, in the entire world, that can claim 4 heavyweight champions that's come from this city.
That's right.
And the only way we can do that and keep that tradition going is for people to come out and to support these shows, these local shows, whether it's Hard Rock, whether it's we had Nick Barris on last week talking about superstars of boxing and Juicy and Tim Moulton and all those guys. You know, what Philip is doing here with Future Fight, but we need you guys to come out there. We know our listeners, right? we know they love the combat sports because
Absolutely.
we're the only radio show that's been covering this literally for 15 years straight. And we need you guys to come out and continue to support, continue to grow, because I'm telling you, you're going to see one of these guys in the UFC.
Yeah, that's just the Area 502 guys. Come support everybody from all the gyms, all the fighters that step in there, local or not, but definitely the local guys. We got a couple other local guys on the card, Travis Hudson, Marcus Mays, so come out and support those guys as well. But yeah, come out, root for all the fighters, man. They're all putting in the work and they're putting it on the line, and we appreciate them coming out. And come out and support everybody.
If you need to lose some weight and you're feeling frisky, go train at Phillips Gym, Area 502.
Yeah, we got whatever you need: boxing, kickboxing, jiu-jitsu, kids classes, adult classes. We got women's boxing. It's not your normal fitness boxing. Come out, check us out, and if you get a chance, add me on Instagram. It's Philip_Perkins_jiu-jitsu.
There we go. Hey, Philip Perkins, definitely appreciate you. Come on out, futurefighting.com. Check out all the information there. Thank you so much for joining us, man. It was great to see you. Best of luck, and we look for a good big show on June 6th.
Yeah, I'll see you guys there, and it's really good to see you guys cut up. It's been a long time, and we're gonna hang out on the 6th. So let me know.
Absolutely.
There
we go. Hey, this is Wake Up 502. We'll be back. We got a whole nother hour, people. So it's going down next. And we'll catch you on the other side with a whole lot more sports going down. That was perfect, man.
Cool. Appreciate it, guys.
Awesome.
Yeah, man.
Good to see you.
Yeah.
I'm going to call you again because we're going to do just a straight YouTube video.
Yeah.
Interview.
Cool. Let me know. I'll be ready, man. Appreciate you guys.
Yeah.
Really good to see you, man.
Good to see you.
Let me know if
Okay.
y'all want to come. I got tickets for you on the 6th. Just let me know.
I appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
Hey, Philip, have a good one, brother.
Okay, great to see you guys. Good to see you. I'll talk to you soon, man. Cool. We'll catch up.
That's right. We're proud to help over 90,000 Hoosier high school students get a head start on college and their careers.
And we're back. We're back. Hour number 2. Wake up 502, 96.1 FM, 1450 AM. Big X Sports Radio. Thanks so much again to Philip Perkins, Future Fighting, checking in with us, talking a little MMA. Hey, Haven Harris, we got so much going on. We got boxing, we got MMA, we got, so much going on in fight sports are taking over the summer.
We have kickboxing coming up.
Yeah, we got kickboxing going down. I mean, so look, everybody gets excited for football in the fall. Everybody gets excited for basketball once winter rolls around. But trust me,
a big fight.
No, there's a lot to keep
big fight.
Oh no, at all. I mean, it's the energy, like we talked about, just the energy and the atmosphere is just amazing. And if the one thing that I always like to tell people, because when you hear amateur fights and pro fights, don't think because it's an amateur fight that it lacks, a lot of entertainment, a lot of intensity, a lot of energy. I almost like the amateur fights. Actually, it's not even almost. I do like the amateur fights more than I like the professional fights. I always have. They usually have a lot more energy. There's a lot more of the because people, of course, for the local amateur fighters, they're bringing their family to the event. So
and all the whole gym comes support.
Yeah, the gym comes out, that their family is there. So it gets very contentious because you got two local guys going at it, in the cage, and it's just anytime you see a fight, it's one of those things. Like, you got to understand, if you were out on the street, quote unquote, and you see two guys getting in people's faces, there's always kind of a crowd and kind of the energy elevates. Well, MMA is literally that on steroids. So when you get it, everybody's up, your own adrenaline gets pumping. And then when you see guys just going in there and they're just giving it their all, it's just, there is that endorphin stream that you get from that.
It's crazy.
It's unbelievable.
I mean, the atmosphere, the electricity, is there's nothing like it. There's nothing like it, especially like local fights, regional fights. We get guys from Ohio, Tennessee, all the guys from Kentucky. Like I said, there's so much talent in the state. And it's not until you start going to these local shows do you realize just how much talent is in this state. And man, they will put on a show for you.
We got Jay Has on the line.
What?
There we go. We got the man, the myth, the legend himself checking in with us. I knew he was going to be coming in. It's 10 o'clock. Y'all know Jay Has is going to be a part of it. Jay, how you doing this morning, brother? Yeah, hey, we got the cameras up. Roman's got it rolling. You know what I'm saying? We got the cameras now installed so we can see everybody's pretty smiling faces. How you doing this morning, brother? Yeah, good. Hey, so Jay, what you got for us this morning? I know you saw the stuff about Ali Khalifa. How are you feeling about that? You know what I'm saying? Are you worried about it? I know you want to talk about it. What's going on?
don't know. I'm tired of it. I'm waiting for some cats that are supposed to be getting the next couple of days. Coach Kelsey and I just want some playmakers, man. I want some playmakers, man. I want it to happen. This guy goes down, man. It's gonna be kind of rough down in that middle.
Yeah. No, I mean, Ali Khalifa is going to be a big part of this. Like I've been a guy who's been very bullish on him. Like I think that Ali Khalifa, he was even before James Scott left, he was the guy that I earmarked to be the starter for the University of Louisville. He's a big time. Like I said, man, people understand this guy finished in the top. I believe he was in the top 15 in the Big 12 in terms of assists per game, even though he was only playing 19 minutes per game. I mean, he was averaging more than 8 assists per minute, per 40 minutes. He's an unbelievable talent. Hopefully he gets that taken care of. So, Jay, regardless of whether Ali Khalifa comes back or not, you still want to see Louisville add a couple more guys? Yeah. I'm telling you, man, it never stops. Like people think that, sports season is over and now we're past Derby. There's nothing going on. Now there's plenty going on. There's a lot happening. There's a lot going down. We got plenty of events. We're going to be out there to cover all this. So there's still a whole lot going on in the city.
I am.
Yeah, for football and fighting is the two things that Haven Harrington loves most in this world. Like I think Haven loves the boxing and MMA more than Louisville basketball, but I ain't gonna talk about it.
What?
Okay. Okay. Yeah, no, I know Miss Lisa and the Louisville Sports Commission that they continue, to bring all of the good news our way. Now that we've started to officially partner with them, so super excited about that partnership, Jay. So I can't wait to hear about what they got going on next. Okay, yeah. Yeah. I know you love your rap. Hey, you know what? I heard that the show, here in town was big time. I heard that Raw was going down. It was a great event. I don't follow the wrestling anymore. So, I don't get into, I know, Jay, you are all about it. You are still big into it. You love, who is it? Jay Uso and all that, going on. But I heard it was a good show. So, there's something for everybody. Okay. Well, hey, Jay, we look forward to it. Hey, let me ask you just kind of your initial thoughts. Donovan Mitchell goes down, so Indiana Pacers, make the Eastern Conference Final. New York Knicks knock off Boston Celtics. So you're going to have Knicks Pacers in the Eastern Conference Finals. The Thunder and Nuggets are going to a Game 7, so don't really know what's going to happen, with them as of yet. Who are you liking in the Eastern Conference Finals? I'm going to ask you that. Who you like, Knicks or Pacers? Okay. Okay. And of course, Ant-Man and the Timberwolves, that they're waiting on to figure out who's going to win between the Nuggets and the T-Wolves. So you want to see the Pacers win the whole thing? Okay, there we go. I like it, Jay. Well, we gonna see what happens, man. But
Pacers to win the whole thing, huh?
hey, yeah, Halliburton.
Can't wait.
Please do. I appreciate it, Jay. Thanks for calling in this morning, man. We're gonna get together, all right?
Appreciate you, J-Dad.
There we go. Hey, and we're about to get into this football thing because we got the football over and unders. But two things I want to ask about first. First of all, it was just announced the 49ers are completing a 5-year, $265 million
53 mil a year
for Brock Purdy.
There we go.
Is-
Time.
About
time.
Is Brock Purdy
like the lover?
is he worth $53 million a year? Brock Purdy.
No.
Let's keep it real.
Look, why you guys hate on Brock Purdy?
Listen,
I mean, why? I mean, the man just keeps winning, and y'all just keep hating.
I don't know. He did too much winning last year.
He did not look like a $53 million man last year.
And the thing is that I watched him since he was in college at Iowa State. He always came across as kind of a low IQ player in the sense that he was talented, but he made a lot of stupid mistakes. If you look up Brock Purdy lowlights, you'll see some of the dumbest passes or decision-making that you'll ever see in your entire life.
Okay, now first of all, he was at Iowa State, which isn't known exactly as an offensive powerhouse.
They went to the Big 12 championship when he was there. They were great with Matt Campbell at the time, and they were good last year too.
Once again, this is Iowa State. It's Iowa State football. I mean, this is like a crop. I mean, we're not talking about a school that's historically known.
Does that have to do with what does that have to do with anything though? You're either good or you're not, and I'm not saying he's a terrible player. Listen, he is a starting level quarterback in the NFL, but he is not a guy that is worth $50+ million a season.
You know,
basically 20% of your cap when it's all said and done.
So I'm gonna say that. So who would you rather, like, who out there right now do you think be worth that money for the 49ers right now? Well, with the current crop of quarterbacks you see.
Well, Lamar, Patrick Mahomes,
Okay,
Josh Allen.
No. Okay.
Oh, you're talking about players that they could actually realistically get.
Yeah, players actually realistically get.
Nobody, but the thing
I
is,
mean,
there you go.
To me,
but
that's the
that's
problem.
not worth. That's not
There's
worth
nobody
selling
get.
your future, though. I had this argument with my friend Hunter, who is a diehard Titans fan. When they signed Tannehill to that long-term contract, his argument was the same thing. It's like, who can we get that's better and will keep us as a playoff contender? I'm saying that's not the point. The point is, if he's not good enough to earn that money, why are you paying him that?
Hey, and let me ask both of you this, and Roman, you can take first dibs on this one. I would have rather taken Sam Darnold at $29 million for 3 years than give Brock Purdy 53 over 5. Like, am I wrong to say that? Like, Sam Darnold, we saw what he did for the Minnesota Vikings. Like, I mean, but didn't we see what Brock Purdy just did in the playoffs too? And you can save your cap $20 million that you can use to add more talent. I know it's controversial. I would have rather taken the discount than taking Sam Darnold. Yeah. And then go get me a new quarterback in the draft. Because he's a system guy, right? Like, am I wrong about Brock Purdy's a system dude?
I mean, he's a game manager. He's like this generation's Trent Dilfer.
Do you pay Trent Dilfer $53 million a year?
As much as I'm hating on him, he's
better than Trent Dilfer.
I think he's a very high level game manager because he can make throws. But the thing is that he's kind of like Dak Prescott in a sense. When you ask him to go outside of the bounds, like, you can win with him, but you will not win because of him.
Yes.
And that's the thing that I've always been.
But how many Super Bowls have literally been won with quarterbacks that Trent Dilfer and the Ravens, right? Trent Dilfer's a god-awful quarterback.
Sure. And I'm a Ravens fan, and I totally agree.
Peyton Manning when he won with the
Broncos. But who carried him? Yeah. It's the thing is, like,
the defense and running.
And you have to have the talent around them. It's not like, oh, well, he's an average quarterback. He won a Super Bowl. Look at that. It's like, you can do it. Well, you have to have a great coaching staff and a great roster around you to be able to do that. And that's why somebody like Dak Prescott has never made an NFC title game.
Yeah, well, and that I'm glad you brought him up because, like, what the thing I was going to say was we saw that the talent and the ability for the Dallas Cowboys to win took a big drop when the Cowboys had to finally pay Dak that money. And I think that's what we're going to see with Brock Purdy getting this money now with the 49ers. 49ers going to lose half that roster because now you got to pay Brock all this money. So not only that Brock Purdy is, what'd you say, Haven, a game manager. This dude's a game manager, and now you're paying a game manager $50 million. So now you're not going to be able to pay all those guys. So your system,
I'm going to lost Deebo Samuels.
It's, you know what I mean? Deebo's gone. Like you have much less to work with a guy that you feel can't win you games. Will literally just said it. He can't win you a game. So what are we doing?
Apparently the 49ers think they can win games.
Nobody. Like, I feel it's just kind of like the Draymond Green argument. Nobody thinks that Draymond Green is worth what the Warriors pay him except the Warriors. Nobody else would give Draymond that. It feels like nobody else would give Brock Purdy that.
Well, see. Okay, you said that Draymond is not a very good comparison.
Why is that?
Because Golden State needs Draymond
They
Green.
do.
They need him. And what they need is his intangibles. They need his toughness because the team is soft. Without him, the team is soft.
But Draymond can't win you games.
But he's the bully. He's the bully you need. You need that bully.
Draymond specifically is that valuable to the Warrior system. There is no other system in basketball where he is that valuable.
He is quite literally their defense.
Compare him next to Wembanyama and Steph Curry, right? Then he would still retain his value. But
and speaking of which, Roman, Draymond Green is definitely not a Hall of Famer. I know he did.
I'm like, who else?
He did.
Look at it this way. Look at it this way. I'm Golden State's team. He's the enforcer, right?
Yeah.
Like, who else is going to drop who's going to drop kick the other team players in the balls? Besides
He's the dirtiest.
He is. But his passing ability is underrated. As Roman just said.
He's a clown, man.
But they need the clown.
He's a clown.
They need the show.
Like, dude would be working at the grocery store if it wasn't for
but they need the show.
And you talking about putting this man, you think this man would have been a Hall of Famer with any other team?
No. No, it's all
he's
about.
Not a Hall of Famer.
He's not. He's not a Hall of Famer.
But my son found the one guy that he could argue that I cannot argue against. When I said that Draymond Green did not have the numbers, Cameron pulled out Mike. He pulled out Manu, but at least Manu was a pseudo star.
And have you seen the bums that they let in the basketball Hall of Fame?
Michael Cooper. Yeah. Michael Cooper.
For the Lakers card.
Like, Michael Cooper didn't do anything. It's like, how did this dude get into the Hall of Fame?
He was a solid 3.
He was on Showtime. The only reason he made it to
that dude's got to be the worst player in the Hall of Fame.
The only reason he made it to the Hall of Fame is because he was on the Showtime Lakers.
Oh, gosh.
And that's why, because he was on Showtime.
You need to buy Magic Johnson's dinner for the rest of your life, bro, because there's no chance Michael Cooper should be in the Hall of Fame. But after he brought me Michael Cooper, I was like, you know what, Draymond is a Hall of Famer because
how many defensive player of the years all defensive?
See, I'm just now barely getting to pick the. Oh, there it is.
Players that have half the.
Sorry, YouTube.
To make the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
It's just
my mic wasn't on. I'm training. I've got 2 trainees in here. Intern, trainee Matthew, trainee James. Had to get them.
But I mean,
John Lynch is a great
today on the
board. It kind of just felt like desperation.
Well, it's tough with Purdy because Purdy's been the face of that franchise.
But to me, the problem with the 49ers are in is this year's quarterback draft class was suspect.
Yeah.
They think next year is going to be better, but
now that you've been paid Brock Purdy 5 years, 263, you're locked in for 4 years.
Well, the other problem
you're locked in.
But the other problem is if you look at your division and you look at how good the 49ers should be, they probably looked at it as like the odds of them getting anybody they wanted was probably nil to none anyway.
Yeah.
For next year.
So
it's tough. You might as well stay with the guy who you have.
That's a weird thing though, Haven, because let him walk.
I would have took Darnold for 29 per. I'm telling you, save $24 million per season. Keep as much of that roster as you can and look to get a quarterback in the next year.
The problem is,
Darnold was an MVP candidate.
Yeah, he was. But he's also a stat shooter, and he doesn't. He's going to be in a place.
What's Brock Purdy going to do?
He
can't run.
He's more mobile than Darnold.
He was terrible last year. Like we saw what
they were injured. They were injured last year.
The Niners had to lean on him more than they had done ever. and he had by far his worst year as soon as they asked him to do more.
It is exactly like Dak Prescott. When everything is working well, he can be really good. But when he plays tough competition, when there are injuries around him, there's some form of adversity.
They lost half of that defense. They lost half of that defense when they paid him that money. And as soon as the Cowboys defense was no longer elite, and they started losing those offensive linemen.
They had the best offensive lineman for the first 3 years of his career. And since it's still been good, but it's been, you've had.
I mean, Dak's just been overhyped, man, since he's been in the league.
Yeah. Well, because if
he didn't play for Dallas, he would have been on the bench all the time.
For his whole career, he's feasted on a terrible NFC East. That's the Eagles. And if you look at production against teams below 500 compared to teams above 500, it is literally a night and day difference. So he is. He's a great quarterback in the league.
And we're going to have to get into this another day because there's not enough time today. But I was listening to a radio show where they were talking about the most overrated athletes in sports history. And I heard the most interesting argument about Troy Aikman being the most overrated player in the Hall of Fame ever. Yeah. It's unbelievable. The numbers around that, and we will get into that. That is a summer radio topic for the most overrated. It's unbelievable.
I have to think about that because he's not really. He's in the Hall of Fame, but
if you look at his numbers,
I mean, it's almost all that great. I mean, but
he's almost 50-50 interceptions and turnovers.
It's just like Eli Manning.
I mean,
it's unbelievable.
Honestly, but the guy's not really. He's not really heralded, right?
The way you think of Troy Aikman and who when you talk about the great Cowboys, Troy Aikman's always a name that you give.
Not really.
But
Troy Aikman's not like top 5 on the Cowboys names we give.
He's a beneficiary of Jimmy Johnson, Michael Irvin, and Emmitt Smith.
Yeah.
And the greatest offensive line that the NFL's ever seen.
Yeah.
Literally.
It's hard not to be good at that.
Yeah, one of the greatest fullbacks was ever
seen. We will I will digress on that because it's unbelievable because I do want to get to this before we get to the end of this segment. I can't remember which gambling site came out with the over-under.
I think it was FanDuel.
Thank you. It was FanDuel came out with the over-under for Louisville football for the 2025 season. Came in at Haven. Do you know what the over-under was?
8.5.
I was gonna say 9. So
sorry.
Yeah. No, you're good. You're good. You're good. So he came in at 8.5.
I would have guessed.
I understand why it's at 8.5. I want to get everybody's opinion on this. Hold on, and I'm gonna read out the schedule. So you all make little mental dots as I go through this, and you all let me know what you're thinking. Okay. So you're going 10-2. So here's the schedule. August 3rd, Eastern Kentucky. August 5th or September 5th, James Madison at home. Louisville at home on September 20th, Bowling Green.
Uh-oh.
Stop it.
And Gordon still the defensive coordinator.
No, they have a whole new staff. Because they got Tennessee State's coach, Eddie George.
Don't nobody care about
Eddie George is the coach of Bowling Green now.
Eddie George can't suit up. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
okay, we got September 27th at Pittsburgh. Mm-hmm. Then we come back home, Louisville, home October 4th versus Virginia.
Boo.
On the road at the U at Miami on October 17th. Then Louisville returns back home. Got Boston College at home on October 25th, right before Halloween. On my birthday, they go travel on the road November 1st at Virginia Tech. Then they come back home versus California November 8th. Clemson, November 14th at home. They head out to Dallas-Fort Worth, take on SMU at SMU on November 22nd. And then finally, of course, the finale, the Governor's Cup, November 29th, home versus Kentucky. What say you, Haven Harrington, over, under?
That's going to be easy. Louisville, 9-3.
9-3, so you're taking the over.
They'll be over. They'll win 9 games. They should, with this schedule, go 10-2, 11-1. But we all know Jeff is going to drop. Jeff's going to lose to the worst team in the ACC.
Jeff's going to go Jeff.
Jeff's going to go full Jeff, and he's going to lose to the worst team in the ACC. I don't know who that is just yet. It could be Virginia. It could be Cal. We don't know. But they're going to lose to the worst team in the ACC for some odd reason.
He's got to get out of that. That's got to stop.
That's what I say 9-3.
At Pittsburgh and at Virginia Tech are probably your two Jeff Brom bomb games. So that's what I would say. Will, what are you thinking on the over/under?
9-3. But for different reasons, honestly. I think that we lose at Miami, at Virginia Tech, and at SMU. But it's like we play Miami off a bye.
Jeez, Will, you don't think we can win an away game?
No. Well, I think the schedule's tougher than it looks on the surface. I mean, Brent Pry at Virginia Tech, I think he sucks as a coach, but he's been there for so long. Virginia Tech's starting to get a bit better. It's a tough environment. We never played in Blacksburg in the ACC anyway, so it's going to be a bit of a shell shock. SMU's pretty good. They beat us last year. Our defense, I mean, until Ron English is fired, I have no faith in our defensive ability whatsoever. So, 9-3, I think we'll be good. But, yeah, this schedule's a little bit tougher than people are going to make it out to be just because of how soft it starts.
Yeah, it's definitely, when you look at it, to me, it feels like there's opportunity there. Like, this is the softest schedule that Louisville's seen in the last. This is by far the easiest schedule of the Jeff Brom tenure.
Yeah.
This is by far. And Roman, you're sticking with the 10-2?
I am, Raashaan. I think that as much as I agree with Haven in the sense, I don't agree. I think it has to change. I'm expecting for it to be this is the year that stops. You have a roster that's good enough to where you're not playing to the level of your talent in one of those low level games like that. And I'm not going to say low level because Stanford had weapons last year. They had a couple of guys that played well in a lot of their games all season long. And unfortunately, they had like 4 of them play well against us, at least that quarterback and those two receivers. But I don't think he's going to drop one of those games. And as much as I don't trust Ron English, I'm the biggest supporter of Ron English out movement. With this schedule, I don't think Pittsburgh's going to be any better than they were last. I mean, I know that they might be a little better, but they lost a lot of pieces, and I don't think they replaced them with the same level of talent.
And that's a great point, too, because if you can't have a top 50 defense with Ashton Gelati, Quincy Riley, Corey Thornton, the talent that we had on the entire defense, and you lose that because I thought last season we were going to be incredible and rely mostly on our defense, and it felt like it wasn't 2018, but it felt like kind of the 2017 year when I'm drawing a blank on his name that we got from Cal as our defensive coordinator for one season.
Van Gorder?
No, it was the year before that.
No, it was
what's
Sermon, Peter Sermon.
Peter Sermon, where it was just the middle of the pack when it was a super talented defense. It's like it made no sense for us to suck that bad on defense. Same thing last year. And when you lose the talent and nothing changes, I expect us to be even worse on defense. So that's where my lack of faith comes in because.
Well, and it's interesting because the thing that I look at with it, and I'm right there with you fellas, I called 10-2 Browns first year just because I looked at the schedule and I said, you should win 10 games against that schedule. It's very manageable. And I look at this schedule and I say that Louisville should win 10 games. I am going with the 10-2.
They should.
I wholeheartedly think that Brom will go Brom, but I think Brom's going to go Brom to make them 10-2 when they should probably be 11-1. And I say that because I'm not, unlike most people, I'm not afraid of Miami at Miami. Louisville beat Miami in Brom's initial season, maiden voyage at University of Louisville, so I'm not worried about that. I think that Louisville will probably win one of the two between Miami and Clemson. I don't see them dropping both of those games. I think they win one of those games.
I'm with you, Sean.
I think that they lose a game that pisses me off either at Virginia Tech,
at Pitt,
at Pitt, or like home versus UVA or something stupid like that. And it'll be something to where Louisville ends up 10-2 when they should have been 11-1, like Brom's first year. And that's going to be where they sit at. And I'm just going to have an attitude.
Do you think 10-2 would be enough to make us playoff contenders?
I don't because I don't like Louisville. It's going to depend on where Louisville starts. And by most places, I'm seeing Louisville somewhere between 17th and 23rd in the preseason. And I don't think that's going to be good enough to get Louisville there if they have 2 losses. I just think that because I don't see, and things can change. The thing is this. I'll put one caveat on that, Will, is that if Clemson is as good as what people are hoping, like, I don't know if Clemson can repeat what they did last year.
They got a heck of a defense.
You know,
I don't. Can SMU repeat what they did last year?
Yeah, I fully don't expect, with Jennings being gone there from SMU, I don't expect for SMU to be as good as they were last year. Clemson is the team I don't know about. If they are, like if Clemson can be that good and then Louisville can get that win at the end of the year, like let's say that they are, that they are 7-2 going into those last three, but they beat Clemson, SMU, and Kentucky, I could see them backdooring their way in. Okay, so like if that happens, I would say that would be the only possibility, but that would require Clemson to have had a great season and to only have like a loss on the year,
or just win ACC.
Because
there's still ways you win the ACC at 9-3 or 10-2.
That's fair, and that's the part that I always forget about. I'm thinking of at large, getting in, but of course, if you win the ACC, you'll get in.
No, like last year, I honestly thought that Louisville last year could have backed their way in.
Yeah,
easily to the college football playoffs if we just did lose the cap.
Yeah,
easily.
I agree.
I think it would have been in.
But Will's point to Ron English still being there, not replacing Gelati or Quincy Riley, and that super talented defense, and bringing back that dude, and not just replacing it with a lot of just okay guys in the portal. Which I'm not saying that these okay guys in the portal can't do well, but I don't know if they have the guy that can teach them and give them a confident scheme to where they can win. And I just don't know. Like it's going to be a lot to be able to replace what you had at the quarterback and at the wide receiver positions from last year. I mean, having Tyler Shuck, having Ja'Cory Brooks, I think that people underestimate how much that impacted the running game. I think that, while I believe that Isaac Brown and Duke Watson, Duke Watson are very talented guys. I think that works and I'm not saying that they won't have great years without those guys, but having Tyler Shuck and Ja'Cory Brooks there makes it a lot easier. It makes those running lanes a lot wider because you have a quarterback that can literally make every throw in the book that you have to be worried about.
Losing Monroe Mills to the portal.
Yeah.
That hurts a lot too.
I mean, so to me, I can't guarantee that offense is going to be as good, and I know that the defense is going to be worse. And I just watched the Washington Huskies in a bowl game with nobody just completely make Louisville's defense once again look bad. That Stanford game, I'm still embarrassed by the Stanford game. I'm embarrassed by the showing that the defense put on in the bowl game. I don't believe in Ron English. I think he should have been fired. And for that, they're going to get to 10-2 because they have enough talent to, and the schedule's bad enough, but they're going to drop a game that they should not.
Well, no, to me, what was telling is if you looked at the offseason moves, all the major programs in the ACC that wanted to make that next step, Miami and Clemson, all got new defensive coordinators. And Clemson got like a really, really good defensive coordinator.
And Louisville had by far the worst defense of that group.
Yes.
And they stood pat because Jeff Brom is a guy who likes to stand by his man.
Yeah, we're the only team that didn't decide to upgrade our coaching staff.
Yeah, it's tough. It's a tough situation. I'll tell you what, let's go ahead. Let's get this last break. We have been ignoring the text line. So Roman, we're going to have to run through them texts when we get back. And then I want to ask you some questions about the playoffs, Haven Harrington. I know you're going to be running out of there. Appreciate you, brother. You are listening to Wake Up 502. We will be back one more segment on the other side.
They got Tom Allen. Mm-hmm. Forgot about that. He's a terrible head coach, but he's a good
defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
Everybody ACC,
every team that wanted to be taken serious for football
upgraded their defensive coordinator. Man, he was like, we gotta get somebody.
Yeah, Jeff is just a little too loyal sometimes,
and that's going to be what bites him. Like, because this is a season with this schedule right here. If Louisville had Weeks ago, fellas, and now Coach McDonald is trying his damnedest to make it really hard to put Louisville into the get to the postseason.
Putting them in a tough spot.
I don't know what they just can't win right now.
No.
Like it also like that Bellarmine loss, man. Come on, bro. You can't lose to Bellarmine. Like
It felt like Kenny Payne.
oh, like Roger Williams got to go. Like I know that's Coach McDonald's boy, and Roger Williams has been there since the beginning, and he used to put some of the best pitching staffs in baseball out there. Like sometimes you just get too old, or sometimes like your voice just doesn't resonate with the guys. Roger Williams got to go. Pitching coach got to go. What
Texter says, you're not gonna like this one. Myers, you're doing bad radio. The issue with it is
Okay.
out there. It's about his time. They had to do it this way.
Whose time? Do we know what that's about? Oh, okay. So it was his time. What
The
is
next
it?
text
I
has
don't
nothing to do with
understand.
NCAA picking on U of L. It's a time thing, paperwork, not a medical redshirt problem.
It was not but it wasn't. But there was no timing issue. The situation with why Ali Khalifa's why his extension request got denied was not because Louisville put in the paperwork at the wrong time. It didn't have anything to do with timing. It had to do with the fact that they're considering his red shirt from this past season to be an illegal red shirt season, saying he could have played last year, which is blatantly false. Ali Khalifa did not get his knee surgery until after he got to Louisville in late May, early June. So, like, that's not – it was incorrect on the reason that they gave for doing it. That their issue was, okay, well, he should not have redshirted last year because he already had a red shirt. But he redshirted because literally he could not play. So, like, no, I'm not wrong. It's not bad radio. And, like, this whole – people try to say that, oh, well, Louisville just redshirted him because he's fat. Okay, well, first of all, he was fat. Or he was even larger than he had been previously because he played on a bum knee because Mark Pope was too invested in winning to actually do what was in the best, was in the best position. He didn't do what was best for the player. He did what was best for BYU. And what was best for BYU is for Ali to suck it up and play on a bad knee all year. And because of that, he needed knee surgery, did not get it done until after he left BYU and got to Louisville, and that's why he needed the red shirt. So
I guess they're just, him not being rewarded with a sixth year to even be eligible for anything like playing or a red shirt is what they're trying to say, I guess.
It's stupid though. Well, because because apparently, like I said, they say that you have to file for the 6-year extension before you can file for the medical red shirt. But the reasoning that the NCAA gave was because he already redshirted in 2021, which is immaterial to anything because the reason they're filing for the extension is because of the injury. Like, do your homework. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. Like, like you said, well, hopefully that'll get taken care of here pretty soon. We'll see. What else we got? Anything else?
Yes. Texas says, I need Roman's Preakness pick. This is great, though. So, yes, good morning, Wake Up 502, main event. Where the fans at? I don't much to say about it yet. I don't have much to say, but NCAA sucks. Puff Daddy is going away for a long time. Dan McDonald or KP McDonald.
Yeah.
Last season, Ottawa plantation in Louisiana burned down. The ancestors will take the farming plantation behind.
Sean, he's crazy. You know that. Sean is hilarious, man. He's hilarious. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, his mom's retired from there. She's a long-time employee there from FAM. I love FAMU. Every time we go down there, Roman Kelly has not taken that trip yet. We usually take that trip for Florida State. We got to get the Seminoles back on the roster, back on the schedule. But I always love taking that trip down there. We always go to FAM when we go down there for a game, because usually at FAM and FSU have home games on the same weekend. So we'll go to FSU and then go over to FAM for their game. Awesome time, great food. It's like a party. Every FAMU home game is like like going to, they have the booths and the vendors set out. They got food. They got music. It's awesome. It's amazing. It's awesome. We got anything else, or are we?
Lastly, you want me to watch the movie Sinners?
Oh, I've seen it. I have seen Sinners. Have you not seen Sinners as of yet? Hey, let me tell you something. Haley Steinfeld, woo! My goodness gracious. That girl played that role, and she is fine as the day is long. But hey, Roman, she played that role, brother. Like, oh my God. And Michael B. Jordan. It was a great movie. I will say this. The movie, my only critique or criticism of the movie was that, Will, have you seen it?
I have not.
Okay.
Not yet.
So the only critique I have of it was a great movie. I needed it to be about 30 to 45 minutes longer. It felt like they left a lot of meat on the bone, and they left some things unexplained, but like it was a very interesting story. It was a vampire movie, but it was not about the vampires. And I was very much invested in the storytelling aspects of it. The music was amazing. It was very fresh. Ryan Coogler did a great job with it. I loved it. I loved it. I like all the hype that it got, was well deserved. But I wish it would have been about 30 minutes longer. And, that there were some things out there that they put into play that had they done that, I think it would have sent it over the top.
I haven't seen it yet. I still need to watch it because
Haley Steinfeld, brother.
yeah, she's something else.
Oh my
But
gosh.
I've not really seen any mixed reviews. People keep saying it's
pretty highly regarded.
It's outstanding. So I'm gonna go take a girlfriend and see that.
And of course, me being a scary movie guy, did you see that? The Final Destination Bloodlines came out.
I saw that.
It got like a 94 on Rotten Tomatoes.
I'm not a scary movie guy though.
I love scary movies. I was born the day after
That's the
Halloween.
reason I haven't seen Sinners yet. I recently
I'm a Halloween.
confirmed that I was actually
It's not like it's about the story. Like you get so enthralled in the story, you forget that even with vampires in it, and actively vampiring.
It's not about
Like it's not about. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Very.
I'm gonna have to see it.
You and the girls gotta go see it because that's it's something for the ladies and something for the
I'm gonna take it.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna take it. We got Matthew Childress videos down behind the mic right now and behind the chair. So I'm down in here in the talent room. I'm on the YouTube cameras, I think. Streams up and running well. We do live streaming up on Restream. So like, comment, subscribe down below. Feel free to say that on the radio, but feel free to do so so you guys can get notified next week when we go live or for anything we do with Wake Up 502, the Breakdown 502
absolutely
we'll be back right before you guys know it, just in a few short months. So yeah.
So Roman, all right. So we're gonna get into this, fellas. We got about 10 minutes left, 9 minutes left of the show. NBA playoffs, Roman Kelly.
My Cleveland
Cavaliers. Just
I'm just gonna give you my
personal opinion. There's already been
conversation about that.
Cleveland Cavaliers, even with what happened, largely had, feel that bringing these guys back a year older, a year wiser, they're going to get it done. In my personal opinion, Darius Garland got to go.
Jared Allen
got to go. Sam Merrill needs to go at the end of the game.
And we need to revamp Donovan Mitchell, the full-time point guard, and then build everything else around him.
Okay, that's not where I thought you were going with that at first.
I think you move DeAndre Hunter into the starting lineup.
Yep.
I feel like you bring in a legit star, scorer type guy at the 2, so that Donovan can just be the facilitator and only have to take over games when he has to. And you build around that. Let Mobley be the man at the 5, and you find another guy at the 4, kind of a tweener guy, defensive guy, maybe your Draymond Green type that can be your defensive enforcer. But I feel like this whole Mitchell Garland era, it feels like the Portland Trailblazers. It feels like Dame Lillard and McConnell, where they were just too small. Like, to me,
you can't have 2 guys out there under 6'4".
They told you who they were 2 years ago, and they basically just had the same issue pop up in the playoffs the last 3 seasons. Like, why are we going to do this again?
I like it, Raashaan. I think you go out there, you tell Donovan Mitchell, we don't need you to score 40 anymore. We need you to go be 20 and 10, 25 and 10. Because I think you go just treat him like
B. Brunson. Jalen Brunson is the perfect example.
Exactly. Treat him like LeBronson. But I was even going to take another step. Make it like LeBron ball from 2018 or 2018 Cleveland. Just put 4 shooters next to him. Just get 4 guys who can constantly at all times stretch the floor and be elite shooters around him at all times.
Yeah.
No one in the league can guard him one-on-one. He can get by anybody. He can get to the paint at will. I don't know if there's anybody in the NBA who can get to the rim more consistently.
He is the 2020
no guards.
The 2025 version of Dwayne Wade, what Dwayne Wade was.
He gets to the rim at will. Put 4 shooters around him. I like this. Now, I was thinking of a couple of different other routes because I don't know if you want him, if you do what your plan, then he has to go guard. That's what's tough because the way they've been, I don't think it works with Mobley. I don't think it works with Garland and him out there having to both be on the perimeter, but you need a sizable guard. That's why Max Strus got to play so much. It's because there's no shoot. You don't have a guard that's just blowing by him and then immediately not having any size to withstand once they both get into the paint, right? Yeah. Strus offered that. Ty Jerome more so than Garland,
Ty Jerome was such a disappointment.
But offensively, he's just not anything anymore.
He could not handle the physicality of playoff basketball. Like that Uncle Slow-Mo stuff that he was doing in the regular season worked in the regular season, but once that physicality ramped up, like I don't want to call it shtick, but that thing that he tried to do with the extra slow, I can take my time. It just didn't work because he's not a big guy. Like Kyle Anderson, it worked a little bit better just because Kyle Anderson's 6'7", 6'8".
I like the idea of putting because even in Minnesota, go replicate what's happening in Minnesota. Go view Ant. Look at Ant. He's a 2 guard, but he's in the midst of offense, in the midst of breaking down things, and playing in the pick and roll. Their best lineups don't have Mike Conley in them. Yeah, he's the primary ball handler. You've got a Dante DiVincenzo out there and a Nikhil Alexander out there. You've got guards who don't need the ball in their hands.
I love the Minnesota
to be productive.
They look good.
Go grab somebody like that, or if you can, and I think with Garland's value being at an all-time high, go get Zubac. Just replace Jared Allen. I love it. Replace because Jared Allen offensively, he's like James Scott. He's so two-sided. He's got 2 different things he can do. If he can't offer an ability to do something in those 2 ways, he's not even out there. You're playing 4-on-5 on offense, Raashaan. He's not even a strong screener all the time.
No, like Jared Allen, he has become
he rolls too early
in the playoffs. Like he has been terrible in the playoffs all 3 seasons that Donovan Mitchell's been there. He's terrible. Like he's been terrible in the playoffs, like completely disappearing. And I saw the tweet from one of the Lakers accounts that said that the Lakers would be willing to move Austin Reeves if they were able to get a top flight center. Would you make that trade if the Cleveland Cavaliers got the offer? Hey, we'll take Jared Allen. We'll send you Austin Reeves. Like if you're the Cavaliers, do you make that move?
That's tough because I think Jared Allen, those two things in which he is skilled, running the floor, and playing above the rim as a lob threat.
That he would be great for the Lakers.
All he does is get a hustle and play above the rim as a lob threat, right? Yeah. I've seen him be the best screener in the NBA at times, and I've seen him be the most inconsistent screener at times.
Yeah.
If you want the ball on that lob, you're going to give Luka a hard screen.
Yeah.
And you're going to wait to roll to the moment he wants you to.
Yeah.
And you're going to learn that quickly. He's perfect for Luka.
Yeah.
Luka can probe the paint better than.
To me, that would be a win-win.
Luka can probe the paint with his man in front of him. Luka can actively get into the paint to the rim without getting by his man better than anybody. I think that's partially because he's losing some first step quickness and he's trying to rely on that shoulder strength, which it works.
Yeah.
He forces the big to commit. And it's there. Jared Allen's the king of that.
Absolutely. Like to me, if you could get maybe an Austin Reeves and like maybe a Finney Smith or something like that.
If you go get an Austin Reeves, but then you need a DiVincenzo or Nikhil Alexander. Well, you need a 3rd-team level all defensive. You can't have Donovan out there being what he has to be as an offensive threat and then also not giving
Agreed. You got about 3.5 minutes.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. So in the East, we have the Celtics going down. You got the Knicks getting it done. Okay. So, that series is pretty much over with. We got Indiana. We got the Knicks in the East. We're still waiting to figure out who's going to – okay, so let me ask you all this first just to try to get the finals done because we know who the Eastern Conference finals are. Who's going to win Nuggets and Thunder?
So we had this conversation yesterday where we kind of split and my original pick was Thunder in 7.
Especially with Aaron Gordon now, the announcement that Aaron Gordon may not play.
He has the same injury that Steph Curry did. So that puts a damper in
things. I don't think it's
as
bad, but
right. I mean, I think he's going to try to give it a go. But the Thunder lack the experience, especially compared to the Nuggets, who have been in so many Game 7s and I think have the best player in the world in Jokic.
Yeah.
The Thunder don't really have too much scoring outside of Shea.
Yeah.
But it's a Game 7. Anything can happen.
Yeah.
It's in OKC. It's probably one of the toughest places to play in the entire league. So I said Thunder 98-94, but I would not be surprised whatsoever if the Nuggets pull it off.
What you think?
I mean, I said this before I knew the Aaron Gordon news was confirmed, that it was a true hamstring injury, and he was
Yeah, he was pawing at it right at the very end of the game.
Once that got confirmed, that kind of changed how I felt. I think
Yeah.
this is going to be a toss-up. I think it's a toss-up now. I think whoever has the better first quarter and gets out to that lead, the other team's going to be clawing back. If that's the Nuggets clawing back without Aaron Gordon, I don't think they'll have enough with the rebounding and the defensive switchability to stay in that game and keep it from getting worse than an 8-point deficit, and you fight to the 6 and 4 and just ensuring they don't make it up to that 12 to 15 mark, right?
Yeah.
The Nuggets could have been able to do that if they kept it close and then make it even closer at the end of games. If you don't have Aaron Gordon, you don't have the same defensive ability and rebounding ability to do that. So
yeah,
if he gives it a go, I'm still going to Nuggets.
Well,
If he gives it a go, I'm going Nuggets.
if Aaron Gordon would have been healthy, I was going to fully take Nuggets to win Game 7 because Aaron Gordon has been low-key the MVP of the Nuggets in this series. He's been unbelievable. But with him being hurt, I think that the Thunder will find a way to get it done. I just don't think if Gordon is slowed, I don't think he can get it done. So I'm going to say that. And then let me just ask you all, let's just say it happens that way. Let's say the Thunder make it. You got the Thunder, the T-Wolves on one side. You got Pacers and Knicks on the other side. Who y'all like making it to the final?
Give me the Knicks.
Knicks in 7.
Knicks in 7.
And say if the T-Wolves play the Thunder,
yes,
I'll say Wolves in 6.
Okay.
If they play the Nuggets with Aaron Gordon beating out, yeah, I'll just say actually T-Wolves in 6 regardless.
I like the T-Wolves. I think we're going to see a Wolves-Knicks finals.
Yeah. Even if
that's exciting.
If the Nuggets got past the Thunder with
the
Aaron
two
Gordon
teams that made the trade,
yeah,
that made both teams better, how crazy would that be if the Knicks and the T-Wolves make the finals? But I tell you what, we are up against it. It is time to roll. Thanks so much to everybody. Thanks to Philip Perkins, Future of Fighting for coming in. Thanks to everybody listening. For Raashaan Myers, Haven Harrington, Roman Kelly, Will Wigginton, hey, we're out on Big X. That was an excellent show this morning. It was pretty good, man.